Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Yes. Welcome to Couch Pilots, all of my friends, the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, a.k.a. the Black Carabiner, and across from me is my good friend and yours, Captain Philip Ressisher. Evening, Captain.
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
So fine, it blows my mind.
Hey, Mickey.
Hey.
Hey, Mickey.
Hey. Hey, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Welcome to all of you. Captain Ressisher, you look great this evening. You're radiant, you're smiling, you're cheerful. What do you attribute to all this positivity?
Well, this new luxury plane.
You goddamn right. That's right.
I mean, this is the granddaddy of all planes. I mean, we had the Judas Priest plane.
Had it out. Great plane.
Great plane. Almost sold it to Milli Vanilli. Sold it back to Judas Priest for more than we bought it for.
Yep, good deal there.
As you know, if you've listened back to a couple episodes ago, this is Air Force One.
Yeah,
the Obama version, the Obama one.
Definition of luxury.
Oh yeah, everything you need.
Whoops.
Luxury, high tech, security,
laser beams, fog machine.
I was going to say fog machines. That's great.
High five it.
Swimming pools,
movie stars. High five it.
We are on some type of
freak it. High five it.
So, everybody's like, "Well, Obama's still president. How do you have Air Force One?"
You know what? The deal's been signed. All the checks have been sent. Are we in debt a little bit? Sure, but we're making it back on the back end, right? Once we get this tour going and get all these different couch pilots started in different countries, fantastic. So we're like, come mid-January, beginning of February, we're going to have Air Force One. Guess what? Today is November 7th, the year of our Lord, 2016. Great year so far.
Wonderful year.
Made even better by the fact that Obama just happened to drop off Air Force One personally to us because it's our 1-year anniversary of the FCF network. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And he's like, hey, I'm not going to be going anywhere. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to Russia.
I think he used the phrase lame duck at least 3 times in our conversation.
Sure. And I was like, are you a hunter? Are you big into hunting?
He's not. He just likes that phrase. Yeah. He likes to categorize himself as a president who's outlived his usage because of the new president is days away from being nominated, or not nominated, but elected.
Sure. And so DSJ, when Obama brought it, DSJ went through it and did a safety check on it, just to familiarize himself with the outside of the plane. He kicked the tires, a couple of times.
He lit some fires.
Sure.
Unrelated to that, I guess.
Oh, yeah. He's a pyromaniac.
Arsonist.
He's a pyromaniac. And, I wanted him to get familiar because it's a lot larger than the one we had.
Some people might say, what the hell are you talking about? Well, we're pilots, and we have airplanes. We have a beautiful airplane. Now it happens to be Air Force One. And they say, what is a DSJ? And they're like, it's probably Designer Shoe Warehouse. That's not the case.
Nope.
No. It stands for Down Syndrome John. He's the guy who works on our tarmac. He waves those golden cones, waves us in and out on the tarmac, makes sure we're safe and sound and getting off. And I don't mean sexually. I mean off the ground. And then back on the ground, and I do mean sexually there.
Exactly. And he's been with us almost a whole year. It'll be a year on December 4th.
That's right. Is that the anniversary?
That's the anniversary of our show. So we're looking forward to that. I'm just in amazement. I'm loving this. The book for this is like 1,200 pages.
The manual. Oh, there's so much.
And I was like, hey, Barack, do you have this on Audible?
You wanted audio manual.
I wanted an audio version of the manual so I could read that.
That would benefit both of us, I think, better. I didn't even know that they do that, though.
Well, you know what? He said we don't have one, but if you want me to, I will record one in my voice.
God damn, he's a lame duck.
Oh, God, the lamest duck I've ever met.
So lame, in fact, that he would go out of his way. He has nothing to do, apparently. He has seemingly no power at this point.
His wife, has redesigned like the food chain.
Right.
the nutritional food chain.
Now you got the grains up near the top.
Right.
Usually, but before it's like, you better get 30 to 45 servings a day of grain. Now it's like, hey, get a half a serving.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You want a leafy vegetable diet.
It'll make your poop just hard enough to get by.
Oh, man, that'll rip you apart downtown, Julie Brown.
And, so besides the plane, which, for the next few episodes, we'll, maybe give you a little insight. We don't want to give too much away, because there's security reasons, because people cannot see us coming on this.
That's right.
It's like a stealth bomb.
It absolutely is. We love the plane so far. We're still learning so much about it. And we'll get into it more as time goes on, as we learn about it.
Sure.
But, again, there are certain security clearances we cannot breach, and we won't do that. So let's move on to something that I always like, and that is fan feedback.
There is tons of fan feedback.
We have arguably the best fans in the business, known as frequent flyers affectionately by us, people who listen often and will comment, contact the show, subscribe to the show, tell their friends, interact with us on social media, and I think we have a little bit of that today.
Sure. I have to go back to August 16th for the first one.
This is where this whole chain of fan feedback began, apparently.
Sure. I had on Twitter, @Uncle_Reb.
Okay.
Listening to Couch Pilots podcast talking about the adaptation of Warren Ellis's Global Frequency.
I remember that one. Great show.
And I apologize to Uncle Reb for not, getting it sooner, but I kind of got it lost in the shuffle with it. Another one. Now you've heard me talk about Lori Garcia.
Greg Garcia's wife.
No. This is Richard Dick's girlfriend.
Okay, yes.
I can't give you his last name for security purposes.
Sure, and we're still learning about that.
Sure. But this is back from when we released Mockingbird Lane, which was Season 5, Episode 3.
Great show.
Wonderful show. And this is when we first really got to know Lori. Mm-hmm. It says, "Oh my God, my sides are in orbit!" ! This episode was hilarious. Yes, Richard, don't call him Dick, and I were cuddling while listening to this. But that's besides the point. And some kind of face of I don't know if it's a or a smile.
Is it an emoji?
Yeah, it's an emoji.
Emoticon?
Rich does thank his lucky stars every day because I'm the coolest girlfriend on this motherfucking planet.
Wow.
Whoa.
I didn't ask for that.
I don't know about a girl saying the word motherfucker.
I don't like that kind of talk.
And as for why I'm dating him when he looks like he got hit by a truck, I have an Arthur Maryland complex.
Arthur, Maryland.
Arthur/Maryland.
I think that's a town in Maryland. Yeah, Arthur, Maryland.
Okay, yeah. So she lived at a complex there.
Beautiful complex.
Beautiful.
Great complex.
It says, "I love nerdy men." Mm-hmm. Also,
wait till you get a load of me.
Also,
remember that from Batman?
Right. Also, both of you revealed my identity on the show. If you do that again, I'll gut you like a fish.
Now,
oh shit! I said her name.
I love sushi.
Sushi Popo.
I love Sushi Popo. What's wrong with being gutted like a fish? And what exactly does that entail?
Don't they call that like the King Arthur or something? It's when they cut your penis.
It's called the King Arthur Maryland, and they put a ball bearing into your penis hole, and they fire it out like a cannon.
Nice, just like they did in the Civil War. I got some more fan feedback come from our good friend Conrad.
I love Conrad. He does all the tattoos.
Yes, he does all the tattoos.
He's got a real problem with interesting facts, but other than that, I love him.
Well, we can't win everything. Says Lori Garcia.
Yeah.
And Richard, don't call him Dick. Mm-hmm. Making big waves on the web, exposing cold, hard truths, and racking up the big points. Great episode.
These are the kind of frequent flyer interactions that make this show. It powers the engines of our plane.
Right. I responded to him. Love you, brother.
Oh, yeah. Much love.
And he responded back, you too. I look forward to the new show every week.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. You go out California way. You going to get another tattoo on you?
Oh, I want to get a Couch Pilots one. I would love for him to design a Couch Pilots one. I would get it.
Where would you put that?
On my leg.
Oh, I thought you were going to say taint, but your leg, you think?
I don't want him to see my taint. I mean, we're good buddies and everything, but I don't want him to see my taint.
What about in surgery? Sometimes they put like a little curtain around all the areas that aren't
That's
necessary.
true.
What if you just saw a little patch of flesh?
But who would see it? I want people to see it. I want to be loud and proud. Couch Pilots all the way.
How many people?
75. All right, got some more from Lori Garcia.
Taint?
Huh? Oh, is that her nickname, Taint?
No.
I heard rumors that Couch Pilots control the weather and wrote the soundtrack to Glitter. I don't really know if we should really talk about that. But Conrad then replied, see, look, not only are our frequent flyers commenting and interacting, but other frequent flyers are interacting with other frequent flyers.
This is. I will briefly touch on this. Okay. As far as Glitter is concerned, that there was a book adaptation, right? I wrote the foreword.
Do you want to build a glitter?
Do you want to build a glitter? I'm singing around. Mountain. High five it. Ouch.
I bit my finger.
It did not go well.
Yeah.
I wrote the foreword to Glitter in that book. So some of the things I wrote in the foreword were used as the lyrics in the songs. Did I write the soundtrack to Glitter? No. But some of my words were used, and I've given written consent to use my foreword in that. So in a way, yes. In a way, no.
Can you recite any of that foreword?
Sure. Glitter. This place is full of glitter.
Glitter.
How much glitter can we have? When you're singing, it feels like glitter all of the time.
Nice. Conrad then responded, damn, don't know why I'm even surprised by this. We have even more. Do you have time for more?
Yeah, I got a little bit of time.
Oh, you need a whole lot of time. Again, Lori Garcia.
Great name.
Great name. Love the name. What was the movie star Garcia? It's like Andy Garcia.
Andy Garcia. Yeah.
Horrible actor. Good-looking guy. Anyway, I heard rumors that Couch Pilots controls... Oh, wait. I'm sorry, this is a screenshot.
I can't comment on that part.
Okay, so it says, damn, I don't know why I'm even surprised by this. I put, wait till you hear our new episode, Life Twirls On.
Whoops.
Look it up. And then Conrad put, I bet there's going to be some real interesting facts.
That's really tough to hear.
I scolded him. I put, damn it, Conrad. And then he put, I'm just not very smart. They all seem interesting.
Thinking all facts are interesting does not a dumb man make. I think he's a wildly intelligent individual.
Amazingly intelligent. He married a beautiful woman. He's smart enough to know poo hands are the one to marry.
What did you just say?
Poo hands.
Winnie the?
No, yeah, poo hands was the one to marry. It's an inside joke between me and him and her. Anyway.
Gross.
Yeah. No, it was cute.
Jeez. Cute poo.
There was, on October 5th, at 11:37 p.m. All right, this is a little dated, but we had a backlog of shows. There was the first ever frequent flyer convention, and here's a picture. 3 people met up in California.
Yeah, you sent me that. That is remarkable.
It's amazing, and Lori looks beautiful. Love her dress. Conrad,
little girl, love your dress.
Always looks amazing. And Richard, don't call him Dick, seems to be taller than I thought he was.
And I think he is much taller than I thought. I thought he would be about 4'2". That's not the case at all. I would like to take this opportunity to talk about next year's Couch Pilots Con, basically.
Yeah,
Couch Con. 2017. It's October 5th next year. We're so excited to announce it. Tickets go on sale just after Christmas sometime. Between Christmas and New Year. That's the window. And we're going to have tons of pilots, ones we've already watched, upcoming pilots. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to sit down and earn a ton of frequent flyer points. You and I are going to make an appearance there and do a live podcast. So excited. I think it's going to be in Encino, California.
Exactly. And I think we're going to have Mark Merritt open for us, maybe?
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, there's some talk.
It's kind of between him and Hardwick and Corolla.
Sure. Conrad, again, when he was, it says, the finest show in television. because I messed up one time. I said television. And I said, I love that you listen and pay attention. And he puts, you're the only guys I know that also suffer from meta milk boners.
You know, and that's funny he says that because I've never thought of having a meta milk boner as being some sort of deficiency. I am proud.
Oh, I'm proud.
Because when I think of milk, I think calcium and hard bones. And when I think of that, just
hard bones.
Just a massive, powerful erection.
Jeez.
So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe it is a deficiency in California where he's from, but here in the heartland of USA, having a meta milk boner is a badge of pride and honor. And I'm not taking anything away from what he said, but whenever I get a meta milk boner, my self-esteem goes up just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I got one more, and I apologize for so many, but this is the first time we've ever had such a plethora. And please, feel free to join in. We'll have a dial-in number that I'll after this, and you can either post things or you can even call into the show.
And you're going to want to do that because you accumulate frequent flyer miles. Our listeners, they're frequent flyers.
Sure,
but what you get are points, right?
The points are like as I'm reading these off, these three people, their points are just like like there was the pachinko machine started smoking when I was putting all this stuff in.
I believe that. And you know what I do? What in my mind when you say that, I'm picturing all these listeners at home just folding their hands, leaning back in their chair, and saying, "Meh, who cares?" Meh. Oh, Blake, why do people want to accumulate frequent flyer points?
A number of things. First, they have the potential to be on the show,
right.
Take a flight with us.
Yeah.
Second, surprise prizes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's all kinds of benefits. Signed aviator glasses has been used quite a few times.
Yeah, and when you say surprise prizes, it really runs the gamut of a myriad of things you could receive.
Sure, you could receive an empty can that we use on the flight.
Perfect.
We'll sign it.
Yeah.
A pair of underwear. We've done that before.
New or used.
Just endless amounts of things. The clear sheet that's on the window of the plane, that they take off, they rip off, it's clean. We'll sign that and send it out.
Yeah, otherwise it's going in the trash.
Sure.
We can do something better than that.
Surprise prices. Finally, Lori Garcia. You know who Lori Garcia is, right? It's Lori, Lori.
One of the Flying Garcia brothers.
Yes. She sent, we had talked about how her and Richard, don't call him Dick, would lay together and he would lay his head on her bosoms.
Biblically,
while listening to the show.
Sure.
She sent us a picture on Instagram.
I like what I see there.
And Dick, don't call him Richard, is got his head buried right in her breastises. And you know what? They both look peaceful. They both look happy. And I think their relationship is strong as it ever has been in the 3 months that they've dated.
Yeah.
And it's because of Couch Pilots.
They are succumbing to the serenity that only Couch Pilots can bring.
Hey,
let me ask you.
11/11, make a wish.
I wish that this would last forever.
I wish for 10,000 downloads.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Yes, television. We all love it. We all want it. Hell, it raised most of us. We would all sooner kill our own families for just one more half hour of it. But the programs we worship week after week, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath that deep blue ocean lies limitless other programs that have tried to claw their way to the surface, but for one reason or another, failed to do so. Who among us are brave enough to dive into the chilly waters of the Arctic to retrieve those lost gems so that for one shining moment, they have their day in the sun? Enter Couch Pilots, two jerks with all the time in the world and absolutely no shame.
No, there's no shame in my game.
No. If you're going to have a man, like you were so adamant earlier about a man seeing, shaving, and then tattooing your taint, you want it so bad, apparently. I don't know why. I wouldn't do it if I were you. But you want it so bad. It's to me, cements the fact that you have no shame.
I have no shame. I talk about many, many things on all the podcasts that I'm on and have. And I have no shame. It's caused me legal issues. Mm-hmm. It's caused me issues with exes in the legal system. But you know what? I am not going to take away from this art form.
No. Why would you sully the name of podcasting with your inability to?
If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all.
Perfectly said. What show are we discussing today? Today we discussed the pilot episode of Susan 313 from the year of our Lord 2000, Ad 12. Great year.
It was a fairly good year.
Uh-oh.
It was a fairly good year.
Past couple episodes, you've been kind of weird on whether or not something was a great year. I look in the rearview mirror, put on those rose-colored glasses.
Sure.
All right? Everything looks good to me. Great year. What's wrong? What happened in 2012?
I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about it. I don't really want to
Okay, we'll move on then.
Podcast.
I really feel like you should talk about it, and I know that you will.
I'm timid about it.
You're timid?
I'm timid.
Do you want to...
Timid! Timid!
The great South Park handicap character known as Timid. Okay, well, I'm going to let you simmer on whether or not you want to divulge to us some
Madonna.
Madonna.
What's Donna Summer's name in the phone book?
That's my favorite example. I'm just going to say it, of when she makes you break it down. So fucking stupid. That really was the nail in the coffin for Sherry O'Terry's career. At this point, we look at the year of our Lord 2012 when we say, what were we doing in that year?
Right.
What happened as a whole?
We're bringing you back so you can experience this pilot knowing where the world was at that time.
It's a Couch Pilot's time machine. Get in the mindset of 2012 because you're about to see something from that year.
Do it right now. Goddamn now.
That's right.
Now.
Sally Ride. Ride, Sally, ride. The first woman in space dies at the age of 61 on July 23rd.
Is that the one that blew up? Or she
No.
just died because she didn't put her seatbelt on?
I can't speak to the exact cause of death,
Oh, okay.
but I know that she was, I think in the 80s, went up in one of the Challengers. She didn't die.
She was in her 80s? Why would you do that?
Buzz Aldrin was, I think, 94 when they sent him up the last time. They said, we need a guy with moon rock experience.
to take this photograph that's fake.
What do you like better, moon rock or prog rock?
Oh, I love prog rock.
And what do you think about the moon landing? Real or not real?
Not real.
Stanley Kubrick, did he film the moon landing?
Somebody did. It was not real.
Did you ever see The Shining?
Oh, no.
I love The Shining. I think it's great. Stanley Kubrick directed, right? Mm-hmm. A couple years ago, a movie came out called Room 213. Mm-hmm. It was a documentary on The Shining and some theories surrounding some of the messages that Stanley Kubrick may or may not have been sending us in that film, one of which was the moon room. There are so many changes made to the movie from the book that Stephen King wrote that Stephen King hates the film, the original film adaptation of The Shining. And
that's interesting.
Thank God we're not in interesting facts. You'd be getting a earful, I tell you, right?
A slap on the hands.
Stanley Kubrick may or may not have been admitting to the fact in the movie The Shining that he filmed the moon landing, and it was not as we saw it. What do you think?
I don't think that we didn't land it. What's there to do?
This is what I think. That's MTV.
Oh.
Remember that moon landing guy?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think about it.
I don't know.
Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, dies at the age of 82 on August 5th.
Why are all these astronauts dying in 2012?
Great year. Neil Armstrong, there's something, I think, fucked up about the moon, right? It may or may not really have happened. Neil Armstrong, I think he became like an alcoholic and just kind of disappeared from from Americana. Like he's known as this hero, the first man on the moon. But did he really walk on the moon? And if he didn't, maybe this guilt has crushed him over the years.
That's got to be what it is.
Encyclopedia Britannica suspends print edition.
Do you remember? Did you have those? Like I remember, my mom used to go. We would go to the grocery store, and she would get, because it was a thing where
you can get them at the grocery store.
Well, you couldn't get like the whole box, like the whole set. Like you could only get certain ones at a time. Could
you kickstart your collection there and engage it to be sent forth?
Well, sure. You'd be like, oh, well, this week this month they're doing 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah,
and then the next month 17, 18, 19. And that's how we got ours. And can you imagine? Like I was very young, so we had them. They were very, really beautiful, but I didn't really use them very much.
They're to fill up shelf space and to make you look smart.
Right, but I do remember flipping through and you had to find, okay, which book do I use? You have to flip through, and you might have a paragraph or might have 3 pages on something.
That's right. There's a real crapshoot. And remember that smart-ass guy that was in all those commercials in the 80s?
Huh.
Oh, that was good. We should link. We should put some classically blue links to the old Encyclopedia Britannica commercials in our show notes. The Mars Science Laboratory, or Curiosity rover, successfully lands on Mars. Do you want to go to Mars?
Well, it would take like 20,000 years to get there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be alive that long.
No, you won't.
It's like, okay, do we want to go to Mars? Okay, well, now that we've landed something on it, we can take pictures and take some dirt samples, hypothetically. Mm-hmm. Now we got to figure out how to make people last super long and get them over there.
What do you mean, hypothetically? Do you think that us landing on Mars is a farce as well?
Jason.
Captain, rest assured,
we've been flying for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay?
I agree.
We know the ins and outs of this atmosphere.
We sure do.
You know when you go up too high. Mm-hmm. You know when you're going too low.
Yeah.
I know when I'm doing all the stuff in the middle.
Correct.
All right? We know that it's not necessarily possible.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I'm just trying to put people in the mindset of 2012. Oh, boy.
Obviously, only space nerdy people are what you're trying to focus on this episode.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
Austrian Felix Baumgartner becomes the first person to break the sound barrier without mechanical assistance when he jumps over New Mexico on October 14th. I don't remember that at all.
No, and I remember, like, I think we went to Sky Cop school with a guy with the same last name, right?
Baumgartner? Yeah.
It was like Garcia Baumgartner.
Something like that. Yeah. He kept talking about New Mexico. He wanted to get he wanted to start like a turquoise farm or something.
Yeah, and he said something about Area 57.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll have to look into that.
Well, that really puts me back in the time frame of 2012. And it also takes me to the point, how old were we when this pilot was released?
Man, I would have had to been 37.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, because I was 31.
Yeah.
And as we know, there's 6 years difference between us. Who's older between us? It's difficult to say, but we know there's 6 years difference.
Thanks again for inviting me to your birthday party.
Hey, I'm so glad you came. Glad Big E was there. Wish Dustin could have made it. Didn't think to invite Heather. She'll never hear this, so no problem. Why did we choose to watch Susan 313?
There's 3 simple rules that we use here at Couch Pilots to decide whether we're going to take the time and whether we want you to hear about what we're talking about. That was a horrible intro, and I'll try to make it up right here. First criteria, it's got to be a one-hit wonder. It's got to have never gone to series. Just one episode was made. It didn't get picked up.
The Lou Bega special, one-hit wonder.
A 1, a 2, a 3, 4, 5. Everybody in the house, come on, get high.
He loved getting high. I think that really is what did it.
Because they got high. Because they got high. All right, second one is it had to be free. We're not going to go and buy these.
Do I look like I'm made of money?
You look like you don't have a fucking dime to your name.
That is pretty true.
I hear you. I got ex-wives that are mad. I have no money. And third, it had to be readily available. We had to find it. We had to even be able to find it, then find out it's free to be able to watch it.
You know, all these things have to be in play.
You've heard of the Bermuda Triangle, right?
Love the great triangle.
Recently, they said they think they can explain now why stuff disappears. It has something to do with the clouds or something?
No, that's not it at all. I know what it is.
Oh, I didn't read the whole thing.
You know what it is?
Huh.
It's
vortex?
It's a vortex is what it is. I gotta stop going to the groundlings. All this fucking yes saying is getting me nowhere. First of all, they gotta identify where the heart of this vortex is. No, it's this is what I really think it is. It's swamp gas. There's gas released from the earth, and when it comes up out of the water, it is less dense than air, which what is traveling over it needs to go through what it understands to be our air. But when this gas hits it, all of a sudden it's lighter than air, and so it fucks up the plane, and it will crash at that point. because our airplanes are designed to fly through what we know in our atmosphere to be oxygen and air. But when this gas is released from the Earth, it bubbles up out of the ocean, it goes straight up, and then it fucks up the plane. And that'll cause a plane to crash. That and vortex. Whoops. Whoops.
R.I.P. Snoopy.
Hang on, Snoopy.
Snoopy, hang on.
It's too late. It's too late to be doing this. Where can you find Susan 313 for yourself? You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots in iTunes or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then click on one of our classically blue links in the show notes, or go to indavidio.hu.
Was it German? It was a German website or something?
Here's the thing, man. I don't know. Just click a blue link.
We got your link. It's safe. Don't worry about it.
This stars Sarah Silverman, and I love her. I think she's great. I don't know how well.
Why don't you marry her?
Maybe I will. Why don't you marry her, man? Listen, I knew about this pilot. I had to dig into it. The only place I could find this is a website called indavidio.hu. The HU would suggest a foreign country, which by all this scribbling and all the other links on there would say, yes, absolutely it is. This is a pilot that does not want to be found. This is what this is. We really dug deep for this one, so I would seriously suggest putting on that digital condom, subscribing to Couch Pilots, and clicking in our show notes to get to Susan 313, and you'll be able to enjoy it just as much as we did. Now let's take this plane off.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Listen to that new engine, man. It's humming.
It's got that new engine smell. Summary of the pilot. A woman returns to her old life after a decade-long breakup. I would say a decade-long relationship breakup. Right. It's not like she was breaking up with a guy for 10 years. Right. Ready to pick up where she left off, and finds it's not as easy as she thought because those around her have moved on.
Exactly. That's a great summary.
Great summary.
It summarizes the show perfectly.
And that's what we always say about it.
That's all we're asking.
That's all we ask, is that you take the
good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have a summary.
High five it. Interesting facts. Let's really, you and I are giggling like schoolgirls. Let's really pump the brakes on that because this shit's about to get real. Interesting Facts is a segment where we dig a little bit deeper. There's a curtain. Every pilot, the brass in the studio says, "Hey, where's your curtain?" They put the curtain down. You and I, the Couch Pilots, we pull back the curtain.
Nice and easy, just delicately. We don't rip it open.
No, we're very gentle. We look behind there and we say,
"Lori Garcia, we are gentle."
We say, "Lori Garcia, what's behind this vortex?" And then we find out all. She's got poop hands, apparently.
Not poop hands. I said poo hands.
Winnie the Pooh hands. These facts are self-evident, right? Nothing can change them. They've
happened.
They're as constant as the Northern Star, as Shakespeare might say, right? Nothing can change that. The section is called Interesting Facts, but whether or not these facts are actually interesting.
Conrad, pay attention.
Please, Conrad. We know that you falter here, and we don't blame you for it because it's tricky. Even Captain Philip Ressisher himself will falter on occasion.
I'm only human.
Yeah.
I'm not a robot.
I'm only human.
Born to make mistakes.
Boy, oh boy. Okay. Don't give us your opinion on these facts. It's not going to do you any good. It's actually just going to get you in trouble.
Don't tell your mother either.
Yeah, what's that? Don't tell your mother?
Don't tell your mother.
What are you, Malcolm Wahlberg? Hey, don't tell your mother.
Don't tell your mother about these interesting facts, eh?
I think we found ourselves a transformer.
Oh, well, yeah.
Produced and developed by Ron Howard. How about that? Ron Howard.
I just heard Ron Howard on
WTF. He's fantastic. What a good guy.
Did we tweet him about this?
No. Him and Brian Grazer are huge producers.
They don't have time for us, is what you're saying. Okay.
Absolutely. Whoops. Based closely on Sarah Silverman's own life, specifically her breakup with a very long-term boyfriend, Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm. The Kim Meister.
Jimmy Kimmel has since gone on to marry the head writer of his show, which is a woman, obviously, and have a child with that person. It's really a shame it didn't work out with Sarah Silverman. I think those are two wildly funny people.
It was too funny. It was too funny. There was too much funny in that bed.
But his job is to be funny, and his current wife is the head comedic writer on the show. Is that not too funny, too? That's a tough spot to be in. The pilot was briefly available on Jash.com, a web-based comedy web series created in part by Sarah Silverman, and then roughly 18 months later, NBC decided to not greenlight it for its 2012-2013 primetime schedule. It's not available on Jash anymore, just this weird fucking website we're talking about.
Right. It's probably some ISIS website that we're watching it on.
That's fine. I'll support ISIS if I can watch Susan 313. Have you ever been to Jash.com?
No.
Have you heard of it? Mm-mm. It's like her and like Reggie Watts and
it's like a Funny or Die kind of thing.
It is, but I think it's meant to be for
Jewish people.
The Jews, correct. I think Michael Cera's involved too. Jew. Silverman remembers getting the bad news. We were in the editing bay and we had a notes call, and the whole call was no notes, we're good. We hung up and just smiled at each other. We knew it was over. Great lessons, though. There were too many hoops to jump through. It's just not my thing. When it failed, Silverman posted the pilot online. As a huge fan, I like seeing pilots that didn't go, she says. Plus, there's a part that wants to expose every shit I take, figuratively.
Every shit I take, every bow I make.
Is that it?
Yeah. Be shitting on you.
Yes. Sarah Silverman has gone on to do a lot of like indie films, like drama films, too.
Right, a really intense one. There's one that recently it was like about depression and suicide that she did. Yeah,
she's dating that.
It was like called Happy or something like that.
I saw Take This Waltz, which she was fully naked in, which is why I looked at it. But it was also a good show, and she was very good in it too. So she definitely has, I think, these dramatic chops and maybe sitcom. Even though the Sarah Silverman program created with her and one of my favorite guys, Dan Harmon, and written with Harris Whittles, I think is what you were saying. Yeah, that was a great show. It was a half-hour program. But unfortunately, that magic could not be recaptured, apparently, with Susan 313. And the last note I'll make for interesting facts is Harris Whittles is dead. R.I.P. for sure.
Man, I'll tell you what, like, you turned me on to Harris for the most part. I think even get me involved in Comedy Bang Bang.
Okay. Oh, do you credit me with alerting you of that show?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, great.
Man.
Harris Whittles was a writer for Parks and Recreation. He worked with Sarah Silverman a lot. He probably wrote jokes for ACT and some of the shows that she was on. Very funny fella.
Humble brags.
Oh, yeah. He created the term humble brag and ultimately wrote the book on humble brag.
Don't Stop or We'll Die.
Yeah, I think kind of just pretty much based out of L.A. Just a couple comedy guys got together and were in a band, a great little band called Don't Stop or We'll Die. And now he's dead.
Yeah, drug overdose.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. Really funny guy. I loved hearing him on podcast. It's really a bummer, but he is portrayed predominantly in the show. He's got a big role.
Yes,
he's probably number 2 on the call sheet.
If me and you were on a sitcom, like if Greg Garcia decided to have us on do one of his shows,
and life isn't over yet. Right. He may seriously decide to do that still.
Are you number 1 or am I number 1?
You're number 1 with a bullet. I'm just the guy on the side.
Come on, man.
No.
You know what?
Chicken butt?
We have trailers right next to each other. Our trailers are right next to each other.
Back to back?
Yeah, so we can kiss.
Twitter responses. Here's a part of the show that we don't do all the time. Here's a part where you're looking at me very confused because maybe you don't know the response, and you're going to be wildly devastated with the response that we did get. But we did, as always, contact all of the writers, directors, creators, and actors on the program, and we say, hey, we're Couch Pilots. This is who we are. This is what we do. If you got anything interesting you'd like to say about this project, let us know, and we're going to shine the light that only the Couch Pilots can bring on it. So one of the writers, Dan Sterling, you might know him from a movie, The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco. He also wrote for The Office, The Daily Show, as well as the Sarah Silverman program. He liked one of our tweets. Great. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Perfect. So no real information, but at least someone responded. We'll take it. And with that, we are going to listen to a promo real quickly before we break down the pilot show of one of my favorite programs, and it's called the Low Blow Podcast.
Are you sick of spoiled white people and Donald Trump bringing you the news you could care less about?
Are you sick of trolling the interwebs for penis-related news only to end up flaccid?
Do you lust for Florida only the way a mother lover can?
Then look no further than Fakakta Comedy Funhouse's Low Blow Podcast with Adam Z and Dave Rowan.
Streaming live every week at lowblowpodcast.net and available for download Thursdays at fcfnetwork.com.
Appropriately inappropriate. Oh!
I can't wait for the marathon.
The marathon's coming, and
Dave's coming.
We're finally going to see Dave, and all I'm going to do is
hug him.
I'm going to hug him and make him say, "Ow!" all the time.
I'm going to hug him and then just say, "I love you, man."
Yeah.
You're not getting my Bud Light.
Is that the old commercials?
Yeah.
I love you, man. Pilot.
Call back.
Breakdown of the pilot.
Break it down.
Let's dig into exactly what happened in the pilot episode and only episode of Season 313. It opens with a very positive intro from Sarah. She is talking directly to the camera. This is removed from the pilot itself, kind of an intro to the pilot.
And she's wearing like a German dress.
Lederhosen is what I would call it.
Lederhosen.
Lederhosen, for sure. And she is talking to the camera saying, hey, here's a pilot we made. It didn't work. I don't disagree with it. I'm not pissed off. We liked it. We had fun with it. But here you go. You get to watch it. And she was presenting it on the Jash online network, but we didn't watch it on Jash.
Right. She's like, I'm not being a hater. NBC didn't want to do this. That's cool. But we want to put it out there.
And you know what? I think she landed on her feet okay. In the beginning, Sarah kind of narrates.
I'm sorry. Before that, right after that, there's like a text screen, and it talks about, oh, shit, I forgot to mention these people and these people.
Mm-hmm. I think Dan Sterling, the person who liked this, is one of the people that she mentioned in that screen. So it legitimizes our tweet like.
That can go a long way. To me, we're planting a seed.
Oh, you think so?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I know. I definitely appreciate it. But, give me a couple words of encouragement.
Sure.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever. Sarah alerts us that she'll be narrating throughout the show, which is silliness a little bit. She's like, we'll come back to me a little bit. I hope you like the ride, okay? In her kind of cutesy voice.
Sure.
Like, it says you're in your late 30s. I think you're 40, 42 at this point. You're an attractive woman. Let's just skip past the part where you're forever a 15-year-old.
There's sophisticated comedy, and then there's,
cutesy bootsy.
Right. High school comedy.
Sarah comes into this building, which is an apartment building.
In New York City, probably.
Sure.
And then, I don't know this for a fact, and I was hoping that you have some information on this, but it really sounded like a Don't Stop or We'll Die music.
Oh, shit. I honestly don't know.
It really did sound like it.
And again, that's the band from Harris Willis. I think is it Paul Rust and
I don't know the other guy.
Mike Cassidy. I want to say it's him. And honestly, a lot of the stuff they heard, it is catchy and it's fun, and I do like them as a band. I genuinely do.
It had that sound to it. Maybe we can do some investigating. Maybe we can just call Sarah after the show.
Yeah, we should. I did tweet her, and I usually just send 2 tweets out. One is, this is who we are, what we do. The second one is, if you got any fun information you want to add.
Because you only have 140 characters.
That's all I got. But I did send her a third one, and I never send a third one. And the third one, it says, by the way, we really miss Harris. Radio silence. Which is fine. She's got millions and millions. Sometimes the people we contact have, 1,000 followers or 200 followers.
Or sometimes it's not even them that's running their Twitter account.
Right. And so that may have been the case with her, but we did say that because we genuinely do. We miss him as a person and a lot of his just his character. We love Harris, and it's too bad that he's gone. But I don't know whether or not that music was from the band or not. She enters the lobby carrying a box, and she runs into Tig Notaro, and I think her name is like Mary Beth or something, or Mary Ann, and she's with a small child, and they meet and they converse about her breakup. And
because Tig is because she has got a box of stuff. It's like an office box, and it's got like a plant and some other stuff.
It's like, I've seen that before.
Yep, sorry, you lost
fired.
your job. Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm just moving back into here after a decade-long relationship. We broke up this morning, and she's moving back into her old apartment. This is her old apartment building, and she goes upstairs and she knocks on the door of an old friend. And
now that friend. Do you know the actress's name?
June. They call it in the intro. She calls her June Raphael, but her name is June Diane Raphael, and she's the wife of Paul Scheer and one of the co-hosts of the show How Did This Get Made?
Sure. And she was I think the last thing I saw her on was that spoof that Michael Ian Black and all those guys did about like the
Burning Love.
Burning Love.
Okay, yeah, she was the star, I think, of one of those seasons.
There was 3 seasons. I think she was in 2 of the 3.
She's been in a lot of things. She stars in that Netflix show with Lily Tomlin and someone else, Frankie and
Frankie and Grace and Frankie or something.
Something like
Molly
that,
watches that. Yeah. So that's somebody that I also recognize as well.
Oh, a lot of these people for sure. She knocks on the door to her apartment. It's just, and she pretends she lays on the floor like she's dead.
Yeah, and she kicks on the door.
June Diane Raphael, she opens the door, she sees her there, and then Sarah pops her head up and smiles. And June Diane is not amused whatsoever.
Yeah, and her name is Jenny in this show,
thank you.
And she is not happy. She's like, I don't want anything to do with you, basically. And Sarah's like, oh, you want to go smoke some pot? And she's like, oh, and she's like, oh, it's about finding yourself a good man or something. And she's like, and she opens the door a little bit more, and there's Brock.
She's like, I haven't seen you in 10 years. I've been dating Brooks or whatever his name is.
12 years.
For 12 years.
We're married now.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, okay, well, that's great. And she's like, you haven't been around. You kind of neglected me. I'm not really interested.
Sure.
And Sarah's like, okay, I get it. And June's like, I don't even care if you get it.
Right.
And so she closes the door, and like Sarah's been like thoroughly dissed at this point, and then she just goes, okay. Nah. That was really funny how she just like playfully pawed off this.
Yeah. And that's very that seems to be like that character that she has. It's
totally.
very like, okay, I'm gonna go with the next thing that happens.
So she turns around, she goes down the hall, the elevator opens, and our hero, Harris Whittles, walks out. Oh, Lloyd, yes. Mm-hmm. He walks out of the elevator. And he reveals that he's a fan.
Oh,
and this is the first that we hear that she is someone who could have a fan.
Sure. She's like, he's like, I was a super fan of yours. She's like, oh yeah, well, what's your favorite song? And she's like, he goes, Late Night Gamblers is my favorite song. And she's like, as a matter of fact, that song was written right here. Me and my friend took all our clothes off and threw them, 4 stories down. And then naked, we went down the elevator to get all our clothes. And
Harris goes, so I'm standing on history. And she says that
or a pubic hair.
Or pubes, which is very funny to me. Apparently, Susan, or Sarah's character, Susan Farrow, was a woman who, around the same time as like Tori Amos or like Sarah McLachlan, mid-late 90s, had an LP out that had a couple hits on it. And then she started...
The Gayapalooza, Lesbian Palooza?
Yeah, their version of the Lilith Fair.
Right.
And she started dating a mega producer who was a little older than her. What's that?
Benny.
And after that, she just kind of disappeared. Harris was like, you had so much potential, I don't know what happened.
Right.
So she tells him about that, and then the pubes, and then Sarah enters her alone. She enters alone her surprisingly clean old apartment.
And the other thing I noticed is there's not 10 years worth of mail. Like there's some mail on the floor to kind of show, I haven't been here in a while. Mm-hmm. But it's not like 10 years of mail. Like if it was 10 years of mail, she wouldn't even be able to get the door open. There's just like 3 days worth of mail on the floor.
And yeah, like you said, she walks in and they kind of pan it real quick, and then they focus in on her name of someone who was on this festival circuit with all these great female performers. And then she goes over to the sink. She's like, I'm going to
get a drink of water.
Pour me a glass of water.
Hey, everybody's parched.
Oh, everyone wants a glass. We need to stay hydrated, right?
Oh, that's the most important thing. There's 2 things that are very important to a human being.
Number 1.
Stay hydrated.
Absolutely. Number 2.
Get your jollies off. It's a proven fact, Jason. It's not. I'm not making it up.
No, I giggle because jollies is a funny word, but like getting your jollies off is number 2 for sure. She turns on the faucet, no water comes out, and whatever, that's not a huge thing, but it signifies something greater.
And that's where like maybe like this whole breakup, like she's all like cutesy about it, like I'm fine. But like maybe that water not working signifies, like makes her realize this is the end of the relationship. I'm on my own, and to be honest with you, I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah, that's right. She's been living with this guy for so long. He's been doing everything for her that she is completely inept and unable to take care of herself.
Sure. So then the next thing that happens is it pauses and goes to the weird classroom scenes.
Sarah is in full cry mode after this water, and then while this water not coming out of the faucet, and then they kind of pause on her face. It pans back and reveals that there's some sort of like a focus group watching it with Sarah leading the group.
Yeah, in the same outfit in this really dark gray room with all these different kinds of people.
Yeah, it's pretty meta.
Including the one and only Joe Pepitone.
No. Eddie Pepitone.
Are you sure it's not Joe?
I'm very positive. It's Eddie Pepitone.
Okay, well, Eddie Pepitone.
Eddie Pepitone, he's a weird case. To me, first of all, he's a comic, right? Mm-hmm. He's never had super success.
Everybody knows him.
Everyone knows him. At least all the comics do. And I bet when he turned 40 years old, he looked like he was 60 years old. And then he's probably 50-ish now, and he still looks like he's 60 years old. Somewhere in time, history pressed pause on his age, and he just...
It was like it was making a mixtape. It was fast forward, reverse, fast forward, reverse, stop, pause,
He looks like he's been about 55 to 60 years old for about 20 years, if you ask me.
A loud Italian guy.
Yeah.
A loud Italian guy.
Yeah, big, fat, old Italian guy. He pops up he's been in Community. He was on the Sarah Silverman program.
He's a legend. I mean, he's legendary within the community. Mm-hmm. I mean, you might not have seen him in a bunch of stuff, but he's a comic. He's a road comic.
Yep.
He's one of the greats. He's at Caroline's, just sitting in the back room, just shooting the shit, smoking a cigar, eating a tuna sandwich.
That is very specific. I don't disagree with any of it, but it's specific. So yeah, they're in this focus group, and you got people in there like Eddie Pepitone, and the people are questioning why they're there.
Right.
And there's a little bit of a reveal of that later, but people are like, and it doesn't seem to be a door anywhere either, I noticed. There's no door. There's just people sitting in this gray room. It seems to be all cement. They got folding chairs. I'd say about 30, 35 people sitting there just saying, hey, why are we here? Why are we watching this? You're not a likable person. Why? This is not a good show.
Sure.
And Sarah kind of berates a woman who says that she's not likable and self-pity.
She was a character actor too. I've seen her in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she's like, Sarah, Susan, you're
a mean person.
You're young, you're beautiful. So what? You have a great apartment. So what if your boyfriend broke up with you? You got a lot, beautiful skin. What's the problem? And then Sarah kind of turns it around on her passive aggressively.
You're an old lady who's just bitter and blah 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 blah.
Is it possible that you see the things you don't like in yourself, and you're shining them on me? And the woman breaks down, and then it goes back to the show.
Mm-hmm. Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Sarah and Tig have a heart-to-heart. She knocks on her door and says, "I don't know what I'm doing."
Tig answers the door in this ugly ass sweater.
It's a cardigan.
It's a horrible,
it's a super lesbian cardigan.
Oh, it's horrible. It's like a burlap sack, is what it looks like. Okay.
So she answers the door and says, "Hey, this is what you have to do. Come on in, just relax. You'll be fine. We're going to get you to where you need to be. There's no reason to get upset. I'll tell you real quickly. I was married to a guy for 15 years. I had this beautiful little girl that's in here. I'm as gay as the day is long." And she starts joking about being
sex trafficking and stuff,
just to make her feel better, and she does. And something we didn't talk about in the beginning, but when she first meets the little girl, she tells her that
she was a princess.
Yeah, and that's something I've heard Sarah Silverman say in the past before, too, is that she likes to say that to little girls. She's like, hey, just want to let you know, I'm a princess, but I dress regular because I just want to fit in with people.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you because you're obviously very special. Not as special as me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going to put you up with me. I'm going to kick you to the next pedestal. You want a silver award. I'm always going to be gold.
If you say that with enough confidence to a kid of the right age, it's going to blow their mind.
Yeah. Completely explodes it.
So she's talking to Tig, and Tig, of course, says she's gay, because Tig's always gay and everything. Tig can't not be gay.
Right. Yeah, it's impossible.
She was gay in the Sarah Silverman program.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sarah leaves Tig's place. She goes to her house. She's locked out. She runs into Lloyd again, played by Harris Whittles, and he invites her to a Polish restaurant. He says, you know what, I can't help you with this, but maybe, some Polish food to make you feel better. And so they go, and they must do that because they come back, And she's like, "Oh, thanks, thank you so much. I really need that." She's like, "But I'm still locked out. What are we going to do?"
He's like, he just starts taking his clothes off and throwing them over.
Trying to recapture that magic of the 1990s when that convinced her to write that song that was such a hit.
And he wants to fuck her.
Oh, for sure.
But he doesn't play it cool. It's Harris. It's typical Harris. Strips down quicker and shit. I mean, he goes way too fast.
He does strip very fast. I want to ask you this too. He strips fast. He obviously wants to have sex with her. Can a man, a straight man, and a straight woman be friends? The age-old question. Surely there's an answer.
I've never been able to do it. Me
neither. I think Billy. You watch the movie. I like the movie When Harry Met Sally. I thought for its time, pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good show. You look back and you're like, oh, Meg Ryan. I bet she was like 28. She's good looking. I bet Billy Crystal was like 104.
Exactly. Sure, those two guys, they should be able to be friends.
Well, that's a conversation they have in Harry Met Sally, and it always stuck with me. Billy Crystal is adamant that a man and a woman cannot be friends.
I don't think they can. Let's look at Dustin and Freckles.
Please.
Okay? Huge age difference.
Right. It's almost a Billy Crystallian
and
age
Meg
difference.
Ryan. It's like Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
It's a Crystallian age difference.
Right. But they make it work.
They do.
I mean, I don't know if it's legal, but they make it work. And it's beautiful to look at.
She's
wish beautiful to look at.
Oh, yeah. They're gorgeous.
He's... Take him or leave him.
Take him or leave it. I think, what a beautiful couple. I don't care what the ages are.
Sure.
They belong together.
We look past that because we're really good friends with him. Love him to death. He's like one of my best friends. I can look past that, his age.
I always think about Aaliyah. Gone too soon. R.I.P. Age ain't nothing but a number.
Ain't nothing but a G thing, baby.
So they undress. They throw all their clothes down because it's kind of a hollow center of the apartment. They throw their clothes all the way down, just like she did back in the 90s. They go in the elevator, go down. The floor stops on her friend. What's her name? Was her name Janice or Jenny?
Jenny.
Okay. And Jenny comes in, and with she kind of like
her
looks,
laundry. She's like at her laundry. She's like, and so here's Sarah Silverman holding her boobs. Mm-hmm. And when she comes in, Harris kind of moves over to the side.
Yeah.
And they had Jenny and Susan have this interaction, and basically Jen's saying you need to grow up.
Yeah, she's like, I look, you're a dumb person. You do dumb things that make me mad. I can't stay mad at you because I don't want to be mad all the time. So let's just get past this. It's totally cool. And then she looks at Harris and says, "Hey, nice penis and balls."
Right. And I sent you a screenshot. I took you a picture on your phone of that exact moment where they pan back to him, where he's just standing there alone, and it was awesome. And then it was just.
What does he say when she says "nice penis and balls"?
I'm not really sure, but what he says, but it was like right before she said it. They just pay the camera changes angles and just looks at him, and he just looks like a little puppy, little pathetic puppy who's like wanting to get adopted.
And surely the angels in heaven have adopted Harris as he is there now. She says, "nice penis and balls," and to that Harris says, "There's more where that came from." And she's like, "Really?" He's like, "No, that's pretty much it."
Right.
Which I thought was a very funny line.
Then they goes back to the classroom again, and she brings up these three characters or these three people. One's half white, half black, gay
roller skater. You've got another character actor in the form of a small penis, like pretzel salesman.
He's.
I know him. Yeah,
yeah, and he frequents on Spontaneous Nation too. I think
some girl in a Habib or a burqa
subtitles.
Or something.
You give me subtitles, you lost me. It's plain and simple.
The guy with the one leg. Mm-hmm. And they're all. She brings them up there, and she's giving a positive message about the human experience, I would say. And it's a bizarre little cut, but then they go back to the group, and they're in the lobby, and they're trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to get back in my place? And Lloyd just grabs Sarah's boob.
It's just that weird, like straight arm, just like boom, just holding her, like holding his hand on her boob from like an arm's length away, and she just looks down like,
so what are you doing?
Really?
And he's like, this whole night is leading to sex, right?
We went to dinner and everything, and we went down the elevator naked, so like we're gonna have sex, right? And she's like, No,
No,
we're never going to have sex.
I'm not doing that. And he's like, well, you have very nice boobs. And she says, well, there's more where that came from. And he says, really? He says, yeah, I got
one
two
more.
boobs.
Yeah.
Again, a rehash of already a funny joke into a funny joke.
Yeah.
Very good conversion.
And then she's like, oh, I got to pee. She's locked out still. She's got to pee. She's got to pee. He's like, well, why don't you go to the guy over in 117? He's always home. Mm-hmm. So she's like, yeah, So she goes over, knocks on the door. He doesn't even answer. He just says, come in. She uses the bathroom, and she's sitting there talking to him about,
He's like some sort of recluse, right? That is just permanently like adhered to his couch. And it turns out to be this Chinaman, Ken Loing, who I contacted as well. Great character actor as well. I don't see him a lot in comedies. Mm-hmm. He's a lot in dramatic stuff, but he's very good.
Yeah, and you don't see his face until she opens the door after peeing. Mm. He doesn't say anything, like, in the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, he says stuff to her off camera. And then she comes out of... The next shot is her walking down the hallway back to the lobby.
To see Lloyd.
To see Lloyd. And, yeah. He's like, what took you so long? And come to find out she had sex with that guy. It was so odd. It was just...
You got a weird grace period after breaking up with someone where anything goes. And
his name is Gene.
Gene, yeah. Terrible name. Sorry, Grandpa. Anyway, it cuts back to...
What's my grandpa's name?
Your grandpa's name is Gene, too?
Yeah.
What's your grandpa's last name?
Clayton.
My grandpa's name is Gene Clayton, too.
No, it wasn't.
Hold on a second.
This is crazy.
Where is he from?
Arkansas?
Oh, my God.
He only had one leg. Same guy? Is your grandpa?
Mine, too. What does this mean?
We could be cousins.
Back-to-back kissing cousins?
Nice.
Goes back to the focus group. Sarah wraps up the show and says, hey, everything turned out. Whatever. She's
Well, it was before that. Sarah gave him the Friends Forever speech. We've all had that.
He's been friend-zoned.
Right. He's been friend-zoned. We've all been there. We've all done that. And after him, he just kind of leans up and farts.
Oh, yeah. She's like, I am sorry. We're never going to sleep together. We're just going to be friends. What do you think about that? And he totally farts. And then what does she say? Something like, I get it.
Right.
Yeah. Then they go back to the focus group. Sarah sits down at a grand piano and starts playing, kind of wrapping the whole story up. And it's funny. She says, and then someone's like, well, why did he fart? And she's like, we'll find out at the end of the series.
Right. Then cut to somebody in the crowd of people.
Yeah.
The one and only Jeff Goldblum.
That's right.
And he is Benny, her ex-boyfriend, mm-hmm. and he asks her to take him back. And he sits down at the... Jeff Goldblum's not an attractive guy, but he's very suave.
Oh, my God. Are you... Yeah.
The suavest of suave.
And I don't know if that's him or if that's just him acting, if he's, very charismatically reading the lines he was given. But man, oh, man, has he got some swagger.
It reminds me of... what's the guy from Full House?
Jesse Katsopoulos?
No, the raunchy comedian.
Bob Saget?
Bob Saget. Bob Saget's not a handsome fella, but I guess he's got a lot of swagger.
Really?
Yeah.
Because he is... usually guys' voices will get deeper, because I think the vocal cords kind of loosen over time. His voice seems to have gotten higher.
Yeah.
And he's a big fat guy now.
Oh, is he fat? Has he gotten fat?
Well, 5-6 months ago, I was watching...
a roast or something?
No, I was watching Fuller House, the reboot of the Full House show.
You watched that?
Sure, I watched
the whole thing.
No, I watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes. My daughter watched the whole thing, but I had to see the first one.
Sure.
I was an avid fan of the first one, being a child, and so I watched it. I was like,
"You're still a child,"
in many ways. So I'm watching Fuller House, and it looks terrible.
Really, all that booze,
probably
all that booze and drugs.
So he must have an unlimited amount of swagger if he's pulling in the tail that it seems that he's claiming.
Well, and then you know who one of his really close friends is, don't you?
Dave Coulier.
No.
Oh, wait, Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
That's right. High five it.
Fuck that guy.
Oh, Jesus. You love him. Someday you're going to whip out your cock on this mic and just start jacking it to a picture of him. I know you love Chris Hardwick. They finish singing. Jeff Goldblum, the character of Benny, as well as Susan Farrow, played by Sarah Silverman. They're singing a song together, and she just said, I don't want to be with you anymore. It's done. They play the song, and the camera kind of focuses in on her. then they're singing, and she finishes up the song, and the song's over, and she looks to her left where Benny should be, and he's not there. She looks to her right, and she sees the room have a bunch of people in it. They're all gone. They're all gone. And that it's oddly powerful, that scene, you know? It may not fit exactly.
That's like a Sopranos final episode kind of thing.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
And then cut to everybody's in her apartment, and along with the super, and
water for everyone.
Water for everybody. And then it's a really weird, like, happy pan of everybody. Like, the water comes on, and everybody's just like, yes, we're all happy and in love.
Yep. And that's it. And that's all you get for Susan 313, and that's all you'll ever get because it was never picked up. And now, we're going to enter some turbulence.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Why the show didn't work?
I got a list.
Oh, please, hit me.
Normally I don't write this down. Like, I usually just take notes on the pilot. Mm-hmm. I don't really write, like, the turbulence section or anything like that, but this one I did. The classroom scenes, to me, took away from the building of the story. It took away from the time to make the depth of the characters. It was, I would say, 6 total minutes, maybe 6-7 total minutes of the show. Mm-hmm. Plenty of time to introduce another character, possibly in the apartment building, or get more in depth on, maybe even like the doorman.
I really like this. I really like that you took the time to kind of iron this out. This is very good. And yeah, I kept waiting for the doorman to talk in the first scene. He didn't talk.
And the second thing, turbulence-wise, is just there's not good acting. Tig's not a good actor.
Yeah.
She can play a lesbian.
Yeah.
There was no depth to that character. Sarah Silverman is cute. She's adorable. Well, in this, she's cute and she's adorable. Age is kind of hitting her lately. But she's not a good actress. Maybe in this role, she's playing bubbly. Yeah. She's playing the bubbly. Maybe she is really good in these dramas or whatever. Mm-hmm. But playing the bubbly girl at 45 years old, it's hard to hold.
Well, they claim she's in her late 30s, and I'll have to say this is a Sarah Silverman vehicle, so there's no getting around the fact that she is in it. Sure. Could you have recasted other people to be better actors? Sure.
Oh, no,
but these are her friends.
No, I don't want.
She is the star. It's
I don't want her. I'm not saying that she should. It didn't. It just. I'm just. Just saying that there's not a lot of depth to her acting ability.
Okay,
maybe.
Sure.
And Harris, as much as I love him, he's not a good actor. He's just Harris Whittle. Like, he's just that nerdy guy. Not nerdy, but just like that weird guy on the side. Just like he's premature balding. He's short. Once you get to know him, he's probably great. But I'm sure he didn't pick up a lot of chicks unless he told him who he was.
Sure. No, I agree with some of that for sure. I didn't think Tig was terrible. Harris was the worst actor on the show, but I do like him, and I wanted to like him. Mm-hmm. I liked the character and what that relationship was. He just wasn't very good at the acting. There were parts of this that were a little too adult for like a prime time, I think. Just talking about pubes. You don't hear the word pubes. People aren't talking about pubes, right. On prime time. And this is a prime time show.
And seeing her in the elevator with just coupling her breasts.
You don't see that. You won't see that on a comedy like that.
I'd love to see that.
I would love to see it too.
Was she good looking naked when that movie you saw her in?
She looked okay. Yeah. I mean, you could
proportion
Google it.
And everything she wasn't ridiculously weird or anything.
I want to say that I had heard her talk about preparing for that role, and she was like, "Well, I should probably trim out my pubic hair." Because it's a full frontal thing. Mm-hmm. So I think she trimmed it way too short to where I think she's wearing fake, like a merkin, which is fake pubic hair. I think she's wearing fake pubic hair in this role. And it's still not excessive, but it was just a funny thing to know.
Like one of the things about her that I noticed is like her nostrils are just really, really big.
Different people utilize different physical aspects to become an actor, and she is a nostril actor for sure.
That's true.
What we do to improve it, maybe slight recasting. I think the focus group portion of it brings about a meta aspect to. I didn't hate it. It was an interesting concept. I can't see it being in every episode. It to me, it took it, like you said, it kind of took you out of it. To me, it took it out of the running to be a primetime show because you don't see that kind of thing in primetime. It wouldn't play with a network.
It cut to it 3 times. This is the pilot. You're trying to get this sold. You're trying to get this. Just put it in once at the end.
Yeah.
Do the Benny part, maybe. But going in 3 times, that's so much room you have to develop.
Yeah.
The only good thing about this, no laugh track. That's the only good thing.
Oh, yeah. That's a big plus for me. And where would we like to see it go if it succeeded? To me, you have a huge apartment building.
Oh, yeah.
Behind every door is a new adventure, is a new person, is a new mystery. You never know what's lying behind, the next door.
Just like Mason Reese.
This mirrors Mason Reese in almost every aspect.
I mean, the potential in the building that he lived in New York City.
Right.
All the characters he got to meet.
Especially that rapey guy. He took him to his apartment.
Exactly.
Boy, oh boy. Let's take this in for a final descent.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Ratings.
5 a.m. is not that far away.
5 a.m. We'll hurry it up. I'm sorry.
You're right. No, you're right.
Ratings. Not our ratings, but ratings from critics, viewers, and here, IMDb. Would you venture a guess into what Susan 313 on IMDb is rated?
6.8.
6.5. Very close. And that's from 76 independent ratings.
That's not bad.
Critic reviews. Alyssa Rosenberg from thinkprogress.org says, Susan 313 may have been a tough concept in the long run, but right out of the gate, it struck a terrific balance, allowing us to be irritated with Susan, but finding ways for us to admit that her honest behavior might be something we ourselves do in extremities or extremes.
Extremities. Like my penis?
Not unlike a penis.
Is your penis an extremity?
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
It protrudes from the body.
It's my biggest extremity.
And you got legs. That's something.
I know how to use them.
Freaking Billy Gibbons over here. That's something few comedies about difficult women have been able to pull off effectively. Positive review from Melissa Rosenberg, Jew. John, and I love Jewish women, of course. I'm not berating.
Have you ever had sex with a Jewish woman?
No. Have you?
No. I don't think I have.
I mean, you and I live in the Midwest. They're few and far between here, unfortunately.
Sure.
What I
Their
love
skin
to,
is way too pale for being around here.
I would love to sleep with a Jewish woman. John Wiseman.
Really, you think so?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why?
All the gefilte fish, matzo balls. No. All right.
No.
John Wiseman from Variety says, though hardly flawless, Susan 313 takes an original approach with Silverman's voice she co-wrote with Dan Sterling and John Schroeder and parlays it into something pretty clever, with the added benefit of sneaking in some deep questions about relationships and ambition. Agreed. I agree with that. Viewer reviews. By Charles Harold, 6 out of 10 scars. It is said that in Hollywood you need a pitch sentence that sums up your show quickly for a producer.
It's called an elevator pitch.
Right, or that. Like Jaws crossed with When Harry Met Sally. Oddly enough, we mentioned Harry Met Sally earlier. My guess is that Silverman was successful about the way she was able to say, I'd like to do something wacky starring me. The result is something that, while not bad, is weirdly unfocused. At the end of the first and only episode of Susan 313, I was left unsure as to where the show was going or why it exists at all.
Do you think it was wacky? I don't think it was wacky.
No, I don't think she had I
think it was like a meta thing.
The series apparently planned to follow Susan as she recovered from the breakup of a long-time relationship and had to reform her own life. This is intercut with scenes of her explaining her life to some sort of focus group. This is an unusual approach to breaking the fourth wall, but not an especially successful one. Much of the reason that it's just confusing. Is the snarky Susan talking to the test group supposed to be the same woman as the perplexed one moving back to her old apartment? They feel unconnected.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I concur.
I've always liked Silverman. The show is sometimes funny, and the supporting cast is solid, particularly Tig Notaro. Because of that, if the series had been picked up, I probably would have watched another episode or two to see if it sorted itself out. But I think the executives who rejected this one made a good call.
Was this before or after their breakup? It was right after their breakup, right?
It had to have been. Yeah.
Which probably was some type of catapult for this subject matter.
A cathartic release for this, for sure. Let's you and I give this a rating, a.k.a. land the plane.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport. Local time is 11:11 and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
And as we land at FCF Network Airport, we think of the journey we've had today through all of our bantering, the interesting facts, the Dan Sterling just hitting like on one of our Twitter requests. All the behind-the-scenes stuff, all of the putting in the mindset of the year this was released, everything that encompasses Susan 313. Now we have to assign a number to it. Now we have to say, on our scale, the Couch Pilot scale, 1 to 7, 1 being the worst, 7 being the best, based on the classic
What's the 7?
score. The 7 is a Brian Hackett.
Can we go through all 7 of them real quick?
Sure. Number 7, best you can get. Brian Hackett from the classic television show Wings. Number 6, it's a Helen Chapel.
Good-looking gal.
Beautiful. Number 5, Lowell Mather, the lovable, goofy mechanic. Number 4, right down the middle, the straight shooter Joe Hackett, the older brother, the responsible one in charge of Sandpiper Air. Number 3, the lovable but lowly Antonio Scarpacci, the driver of a local taxi on Nantucket Island.
Who never actually drove anybody. We just sat and ate at the counter.
We love those Turkey Club sandwiches. Number 2.
How much tuna you got here? Too much tuna.
What is that from?
Oh, that's from Nick Kroll and, what's that guy's name?
John Daly?
No.
Oh, not John Daly. John Maloney.
Maloney.
Not Maloney. Damn it.
But they it's a bit from the Kroll show. The Too Much Tuna, the two Jewish guys.
Fuck, and they did a live Broadway.
And now they're doing it on Broadway.
What's that fucking guy's name? John something. I do like him a lot. Faye Cochran, the receptionist at Sandpiper Air. The
adorable little old lady.
And then finally, at the bottom of the barrel, the man in charge, the backstabbing bastard in charge of Aeromass, is the big fat-ass Roy Biggins himself. And so now I turn to you, back-to-back, Captain Philip Restisher. How do you rate Susan 313?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Oh, man.
Tough.
It is tough. John Mulaney.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Everything that we know.
I'm giving it a 4.
4, right down the middle. You're Joe Hackett. I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to give this number 5.
Okay.
This is a Lowell Mather. I like this show.
You know what?
Oh, wait, he's turning the point. Is he turning?
I'm going to give it the RIP bump. Give it a 5.
The Harris bump. Yeah. Rest in peace, my friend. So I
love Harry. I really do love him, and like I said, he doesn't do a really good job acting, but it's just Harris. It's just a hoodie, t-shirt, you know.
Yeah, I think we really did come to know him by listening to Comedy Bang Bang and his many appearances on there.
It's hard to not keep all that with it.
It's very few podcasts, including this one, are completely scripted out. That is not the case. So when you have long form conversations with people, whether or not you're doing bits or joking around or having a serious conversation, to some degree you really get to know someone.
Sure.
And that was the case with Harris Whittles on Comedy Bang Bang. And was he the most famous guy that's ever been on the show? Not by a long shot. But Scott Aukerman, the guy who runs the whole thing, he loved him and he loved having him on, and he was very funny. And it really was a bummer. I remember reading it, and I think I don't know if I told you about it or if you found out on your own, but man, it really it bummed me out. Like, yeah, I was totally bummed.
I think I heard it because I heard it on Who Charted or something, maybe.
And then a couple days later, they had to release an episode of Comedy Bang Bang, and Scott Aukerman gives a very poignant kind of discussion about what he feels about it.
Sure. And then Kulop did the same thing that same week on Who Charted, because Kulop and Harris were really close, maybe even closer than Scott and Harris.
they had just recorded a few days before his death, even an episode of Comedy Bang Bang with him. Ironically enough, which is, he always talked about death and stuff. And it was very eerie, very I don't know, but definitely worth another point in the system there. So we're going to tie it up at 5. To me, I would watch this if it was on. I would definitely give it a shot because I like Sarah Silverman. I like a lot of the people involved. It wasn't the funniest thing I've ever seen. It wasn't the best thing. Far from the worst, though.
Sure, right.
So to Susan 313, a couple of big 5s. High five it. Whoops. And with that,
high five, burp it.
Burp. And with that, we closed the book on Susan 313.
Ever.
We'll never open it again. There's no
ever.
Ever. There's no reason to.
No, why would we?
Why would we do that?
R.I.P. Harris.
But we're not done. There's more to be seen. There's more to converse about. Won't you join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of Super Clyde?
Wait, we've already done Super Clyde.
Well, here's a little something to whet your whistle. A meek, unassuming fast food worker finds his calling. You can't find this entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots and iTunes.
You will never find it, ever.
Or your favorite podcast app of choice, or by clicking on one of our classically blue links in our show notes. If you want to watch it, come to my house and hang out because I own it thanks to the creator of the show, Greg Garcia. So
nice.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
We contacted him, same as we do everyone else. He responded in a big way, including giving us a copy of the DVD because I can't find it online. So while it doesn't meet one of our requirements, we can't not do it.
No, this is an opportunity of a lifetime.
To me, it legitimizes the entire show.
You know what? To be honest with you, for the past 50 weeks, we've been working for this.
This is it. This is the pinnacle, and it's all downhill from here, folks. You like what you hear? More importantly, you don't like what you hear. Contact us at couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. Go to Twitter. We reach out to the stars. You'll know further down the pike than anyone what's on the docket. Check us out there at Couch Pilots Pod. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, all those different platforms. You'll get some frequent flyer points. They'll add up quicker than you can say. What's something someone could say?
Too much tuna.
Yeah.
Okay, so also, this is brand new. We're announcing it for the first time ever.
Oh, right, yes.
We want interaction. We love Lori Garcia and Richard, don't call him Dick. Mm-hmm. Conrad, don't call him a communist. And Dustin, Big E. We love everybody that interacts with the show because that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it personal.
Right.
We have yet another avenue. It's probably easier than going on Facebook or maybe typing only 140. Because I know a lot of our listeners are probably like, I can't tell you what I think of the show or what I feel in 140 characters.
It's tough.
I can't even describe my penis in 140
Just
characters.
like Dave Matthews once said, so much to say. Pretty baby.
Okay, so we have a dial-in number where you can leave a voicemail for the show. We will play it on the show. You can leave a voicemail. What? It's 1-910-PILOTS-1. Pilots, the number 1.
910-PILOTS-1.
And if you don't want to look and decode that, I'll tell you what it is. Write it down. Are you writing it down?
Yes.
Okay. 1. Because, everybody has to dial 1 first.
1 is the loneliest number.
1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever hear.
3 Dog Night or Amy Mann, if you had to choose.
3 Dog Night.
Amy Mann.
910-745-6871. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. It took me an hour and a half to find a number that had anything. I looked up Sky Cops. I looked up.
Sky Cops.
I sat with Molly for like an hour on. To get this number, because you type in phrases or words and it tries to find a number that's
What
available.
about Her Black Majesty?
Way too long.
Okay.
So it's 910-PILOTS-1.
Perfect.
Please leave us a voicemail.
Yeah, call us up. Give us your favorite recipe. Give us directions to downtown San Diego. Whatever you want, just leave it. We'll take it.
If you leave us a voicemail. The first person to leave us a voicemail about this episode, about Sarah 313.
Whoa, hold on. What are you doing?
I'm going to give my show notes that I wrote, and I'll sign them, and I'll have you sign them as well if you don't mind.
Not at all. I don't mind.
And we'll put it and send it out to them.
Wow. Incredible.
Straight from Air Force One.
Wow. Incredible.
That's incredible.
You're an incredible man.
You're an incredible man, too.
Man 2. The sequel. Anything else you'd like to say? But I really feel like you've blown our frequent flyers' minds, and you've blown them right out of the water. But is there anything else you'd like to say before we go today?
I'd like to say thank you. I know you put a lot of work into this show, and I appreciate it. And without you, this show would not be possible.
Oh, get right out of town. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, as always. And everyone listening at home, thank you very much. And I will say that this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Okay, lady. I love you. Bye-bye.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.